Shalawam, shalawam, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Christians. And what we're going to go to, we should have already seen the title of this video. So what I just want to put on that, do not disturb for a second, okay? The title of this video: 12 contradictions in the Bible, okay? And this individual right here, holy koolaid, in other words, an atheist is going into the scriptures, calling himself bringing out contradictions within the scriptures. So I didn't do this before, but I didn't actually plan on doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a definition. Hold on, so yeah, right. Completely forgot to turn on auto rotate as well. You have to bear with me there. Okay, taking care of that. Now we'll get this word contradiction. Because as you know, we that are in this truth, okay, especially the men of the great millstone, we go into the words as well. So this is the word for contradiction. I'm not going to get the etymology today, okay? So contradiction, an act or instance of contradiction, dicting, a proposition, statement, or phrase that asserts or implies both the truth and falsity of something. A statement or phrase whose parts contradict each other. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go and get the word contradict, okay? Contradict. So I'm just going to go and search the word contradict so that you can get a better definition of that word. Okay, so here it is. And the word is contradict, okay, a verb. And it reads to assert the contrary of, take issue with, to imply the opposite or a denial of, okay. Another definition of the word contradict, okay. So now was to assert the contrary of, take issue with, to imply the opposite or a denial of, okay. So I'm going to go back to that word contradiction because I'm not getting the definition I'm looking for. I just say it plain, I'm not getting the definition I'm looking for, okay. But okay, here it is from the third definition: logical incongruity, a situation in which inherent factors, actions, or propositions are inconsistent or contrary to one another. And that's the definition that we're looking for here: a situation in which inherent factors, actions, or propositions are inconsistent or contrary to one another. So basically, what this atheist individual right here is saying, okay, is that some parts of the Bible are inconsistent or contrary to one another. And lots of people that have problems with the doctrines, that have problem with what's written up in the scriptures, they always come out with this same argument that, oh well, there are parts of the Bible that contradict each other. And when you really scrutinize what they are saying and you look into it, okay, you humor them and say, okay, then what parts contradict each other. Whenever they bring it out, man, it's always something that you can easily debunk, okay, with just simple understanding, with simple wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And personally, I blame Wakitaki plantation Christianity for bug outs like this, okay, because they just come out with their foolish understanding or their limited understanding of what is written up in the scriptures and start trying to use their worldly knowledge, because that's what all this video is, just a bunch of atheists using their worldly knowledge to try to break down what's written up in the scriptures. Because this individual right here, and he'll admit it, you'll see him say it in the video that he lacks faith in the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So how can you understand the scriptures? And let's get that precept. When you lack faith in the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, how can you understand the scriptures? Because I'm missing a key component to understanding what's written up in the scriptures. That's why you come up with breakdowns, you come up with contradictions, you come up with logical fallacies, you come up with all these kind of words just to say you don't believe in what the scriptures say because you can't understand what the scriptures say. Instead of just admit that simple fact, and you're saying their contradictions, you're saying their logical fallacy, they're saying that the book is a book of fairy tales because you refuse to accept that what is written in it is the truth. But this is the book of Hebrews 11 verse 6. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. That's right, okay? And that's why, like we always say, this truth is only for the elect of the nation of Israel, okay, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, the elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, okay. So now, also like this is what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. So like, yeah, faith. But that's a good precept to bring out. But this is that was what I was looking for. I actually messed up and put out another precept, but it's still all the same thing, precept upon precept. But this is the book of Romans 10. Hold on, so I'm trying to make sure that this is the precept I'm looking for. Okay, yeah, this is the one I'm looking for. So this is the book of Romans 10, verse 13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahweh shall be saved. Whosoever of Israel. Romans 10, verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer of to the Most High Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh for Israel is that they might be saved. So we know that the Apostle Paul is speaking about Israel here. So now Romans 10, verse 17. So yeah, Romans 10 verse not 17, so okay, Romans 10 verse 13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahweh shall be saved. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent, as it is written? How beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things. So once again, you're hearing the same thing, okay? Without faith, it is impossible to believe, without the belief in Yahweh, without faith, it's impossible to believe in the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. And without belief, it is impossible to understand the scriptures, okay? Like it says here, how does it go? Here is it? Here is it. How, Romans 10, verse 14, how then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed, okay? If you don't believe in the Most High, how can you understand this truth? How can you call upon the Spirit to get the truth, okay? The Spirit to understand the breakdowns and what's written up in the scriptures, the deep, dark sayings, okay? And how can you forget hearing about it, forget learning of a prophet without even that initial, grassroots seed of faith in you to believe in the Most High and His Son, to believe that there is a power, because even the scriptures tell you that, and let's get that as well, that the fool saith in his heart there is no God. So this is the book of Psalms 14, verse 1. Psalms 14, verse 1. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no power. They are corrupt, they have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. Okay. And this is, of course, speaking about, all these people out there that are denying the power of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh, that go into the scriptures looking for. And that's another thing right there. When you find out that these atheists, man, they go into these atheists, man, they study the scriptures hard, man. For people that don't believe in the Most High, they sure are obsessed with what is written up in the, concerning Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh. But without further ado, let's play the video.
Soldiers.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. Let's skip all these parts.
It literally makes no difference? Easy. Exodus 20 is clearly a Jewish law applying only to the Jews before Jesus came and fulfilled the law. Does that day's
let's just start. Let's just go into all
fundamentalist
this.
evangelical Christian, if the Bible contained any contradictions, my answer would have been a firm and resounding no. And when non-Christians would point out apparent contradictions, it was all too easy for me to find ways to reconcile most of them. Exodus 28 through 11 says that you're not supposed to work on the seventh day of the week or the Sabbath because that day's holy, but Romans 14:5 says it literally makes no difference. Easy.
And this right here is I don't really know what they attempt to use it, but let's just go into it first. Romans 14 verse 5, okay? We'll start with that one. We'll start with Romans 14 verse 5. This is actually a mystery, this man is what he's basically done. He started the video off with a lie, basically, because that's not what Romans 14 verse 5 says. Because what he's saying is that, Romans 14 verse 5 says that the days make no difference, or one day is the same as the other, which of course is a lie, okay? But this is the book of Romans 14 verse 5. Now for you to understand what it says, Romans 14 verse 4 first. Who art thou that judgest another man's servants, to his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holding up, for the Most High Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh is able to make him stand. One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Okay, and this is of course going into the understanding of the truth. So continue on. Verse 6, he that regardeth the day regardeth it unto Yahweh, and he that regardeth not the day, to Yahweh he doth not regard it. He that eateth of Yahweh, for he giveth Yahweh thanks, and he that eateth not, to Yahweh he eateth not, and giveth the Most High Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai thanks. For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. Okay, and this is of course going into the celebration of the high holy days. Like we always tell you in this kingdom that we are rehearsing the righteous acts. Okay, so we can't keep the law perfectly. So whenever say like say for example now the example that he used the Sabbath. Okay, whenever the Sabbath falls on a day that you can't, you might not be able to keep it. Okay, like you have to go to work or you have to go and do something on that day, man. As the scriptures say, we pray to the Most High, how about Hashem Yahweh for mercy, okay? And the Most High will understand the situation that we are going through. For we are just rehearsing the righteous acts on this side, and we can't keep all the law perfectly. Or say you are actually keeping the Sabbath, but then you mess up and you forget, and you go and accidentally, do some work, okay? Like say, you see a little dust around the corner of your house, and you also say, let me just get a broom and just sweep it a little bit. That is also counts as breaking the Sabbath, which of course like I said, you ask for forgiveness and you ask for forgiveness and you keep it moving, okay, and you try your best to keep or try your best to rehearse the righteous acts or to keep the righteous acts because we are all doing this to the best of our ability, okay. But what this is going into is what the understanding and the faith, okay. It doesn't matter how you keep it's what it's like let me rephrase that, okay. It doesn't matter how sincere you are concerning the keeping of the law, okay. It doesn't matter whether you keep all the laws perfectly, okay. If you aren't convinced, if you don't have faith and the belief in Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, if you're not fully persuaded in your mind, all of that does not matter. Okay. So there are some brothers out there that don't really celebrate much of the high holy days because maybe they don't have the ability to or they don't have the full understanding yet in order to celebrate them. Okay. And there are some brothers that keep all the high holy days. As the scripture say, one man estimates one day above another, another estimates every day alike, okay? Because when you are doing that, when you are celebrating the high holy days, you are celebrating it to Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. When you are not celebrating the high holy days, you are doing the same thing because of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, okay? You don't want to profane the high holy days. You don't want to make a mistake that would make the Most High, or displease or anger the Most High. It's all being done for the sake of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. So it doesn't mean that, we've disregarded the Sabbath or anything like that, or the Sabbath is done away with, okay, because the laws still stand. But these are not even the contradictions I'm actually going to go into. He's just mentioning some contradictions and using them his wacky Christian mindset and his ideology and his knowledge to in order to just to debunk them or call himself debunking them. Okay, let's get to the main contradictions. Okay, the ones that actually
Exodus 20 is clearly a Jewish law,
the ones that he actually goes into.
applying, and many of them are things forever. Will analogies and metaphors. Often biblically illiterate about these contradictions says that the Old Testament Jewish king Jehoiakim was
Okay, here
20 years.
this is the first one. And before I get all these contradictions, let me also do this as well. I want to get the precepts in the Apocrypha, and that will be should it I believe it's the book of Sirach, okay, the first chapter. For whatsoever is written, basically going into the translation. So let's get that. Ecclesiasticus 1. And I'm forgetting what parts, okay. So this is the book of Ecclesiasticus 1, and I'll jump to the main point, okay. It should be around the fourth or the third paragraph, okay. Ecclesiasticus 1. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. Okay, so basically, what else is going into, and so I have to read from the top, because I skipped some parts accidentally. You have to bear with me for that. Okay. Um. Okay. Yeah. Basically, that's all that. Okay. Yeah. So Ecclesiasticus 1 once again. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. Okay, because a lot of these contradictions that he's calling contradictions are all based on the translation and based on what is how it was translated. Okay, because there was some error in the translation or some things got lost in the translation. The context of what was actually being spoken of got lost in translation, and that's what he's using and calling a contradiction. When in all actuality, it's not a contradiction but a lack of your own understanding. Okay, let's go into it. This is going to be a really long video.
Without learning how to defend it. Other contradictions, though, are a little harder to reconcile. 2 Chronicles 36:9 says that the Old Testament Jewish king Jehoiakim was 8 years old when he began to reign as king, while 2 Kings 24:8 says that Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he began to reign. This seems minor, but
So let's go back to that. As he said,
Jehoiakim was 8 years old when he began to reign as king, while 2 Kings 24:8 says that Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he began to.
okay, so the first actual contradiction he brings out is that the contradiction in the age difference of the king, Jehoiakim, okay, when he was ruling, okay, and he compares Second Chronicles 36 verse 9 and Second Kings 24 verse 8, and that's why I had to read that precept in the book of Sirach, because let's go to that. So the first one is 2 Kings 24 verse 8. Let's go to that. And this is the importance of going into the Hebrew and going into the Greek, of understanding the Hebrew words and understanding the Greek words and understanding the concordance and the like, and also the history as well. And you will see all these the importance of all these things when you are tackling all these so-called contradictions, because once again, if you have an understanding of the scriptures, you have an understanding of the Hebrew and the Greek, all these things won't be contradictions because you understand what they're going into. Okay, I have to get a drink right there. But anyway, Second Kings 24 verse 8, okay, and it gives you Second Chronicles 36 verse 9 to 10 as the reference, okay. But Second Kings 24 verse 8, Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months, and his mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. Let's go to that. And here it is, Second Chronicles 36 verse 9. Jehoiakim was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem, and he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh. So, oh, he got us right there. Oh, 8 years old and 18. We can't possibly reconcile that. How could they have made such a mistake of making the age 10, giving the age a 10 years difference, okay? But when we go into the strongs, you'll see how this dude clearly doesn't understand what he's talking about, okay? I have to bear with me for being, for sounding so tired and, and all of that, but, listening to these dudes, listening to these people that have no understanding of the scriptures, it's always annoying. And I have to watch this video over 10 times, okay, just so I can get every single argument that he's making and, show through the spirit and through the scriptures that he is a liar, okay. So now, this is the word for 18 in the Hebrew, which of course is shaman. So like I forgot how it's pronounced, but I forgot how it's pronounced. Shamana. So okay, I forgot how it's pronounced. Let me get it. Actually, I have it written right here. Okay, the Hebrew word for it, and the word is shamawana. Shamawana. Okay, shamawana. Shamawana. Alright, so that's how the word it is pronounced in the Hebrew. And this word Shamawana is the book of Second Kings. Let's just go to it, okay. I can clearly see right here, okay, 8 as cardinal number, 8 as ordinal number in combination with other numbers, okay. Now this is the word, this is the translation. eight, 18, 18th, 8, 18,000. Okay, and basically what you have is that this word shamawana is a, if you want, there's no word for 18 in the Hebrew. Okay, so if you want to get the word 18 in the Hebrew, you have to combine the word with the word Aishara, which is 10. Okay, so you have the word for 18, it should be Shama Wana Aishara. Okay, so here you see, let's go to this. You see the word 18, and it shows you with H6240. Okay, so we get the word H6240. So let's just do this first. Genesis 14. This is actually what I want to bring out, but let's just go to it. Genesis 14. Where is it? 18. Here it is. And the word you see there will be Shamawana Aishara, which is 18. Okay. But the word has, so let's just go to that first. My wife hasn't turned off now that it's doing like this. To be a bad time for that. Okay. This is the word. And as you see the same word there for 18. And it didn't actually show what I was looking for. But let's just forget about that. It didn't actually show what I was looking for, which is Shamawana Aishara. So H6240. I don't know if I can go to that. I don't know if I can search the concordance. But I just leave it at that because that's not even the main thing, okay? Because they don't need to even go into that. So I'm going to this, I'm going to go to the word we'll start with the word in the book of Second Kings. That's Second Kings 24. Okay, so we'll go back to that. Second Kings 24, verse 12. We'll go back to that, okay, which is the so-called contradiction that's in the book of Second Kings 24, verse 12. It says that Joachim was 18 years old and he ruled, okay, but in the book of let's go to that. Shamawana, okay. But in the book of Second Chronicles, he was 8 years old when he came into rulership, which of course, is actually false because you go into the Hebrew, the same word is used in both precepts. Okay, that's what I'm going to show you right now. So here you see this is this is the concordance results shown using the KJV. So the same word, Strong's number H8083, which is Shamawana. Okay, you see the same number here. Now it's going to show you all the places where it has been used. So I'm going to go to the book of Second Chronicles to show that it's still. Hold on, Second Chronicles. Oh, let me go to the second part of it. So Second Chronicles, let's go and get that Second Chronicles. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Second Chronicles 36, verse 9, and it's showing the same word. Joachim was 8, Shamawana, which is the word for 8 in the Hebrew. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close this for a little bit, okay? I'm going to get that word in the Hebrew, and that is the Lashawan Kwadash. Okay, so this is the history. Okay, but anyway, let me get that Lashawan Kwadash. Let's have to go all the way back to the history. Okay, to get that word in. Basically, you have this old channel that the brother set up. GMS Lashawan Kwadash. And here it is, where you have the Hebrew being shown. So what I'm going to get the word 8 right here, and to show you that it's the same word that is used in the Strongs. Okay, so I'm just going to skip to the main points because you have the 12 tribes, the names in the Hebrew, and the numbers in Hebrew as well. So I'm going to go to the word 8. Eight. Get the exact parts. Okay, this is the word 8 here.
Wana, Sha.
Okay, let me just go back a little bit so you can hear the other apostles actually go into this.
Okay. 6 is Shasha. You see there. 7 is Shabai. 8 is Shamawana. Shamawana.
And you can clearly see that the same, symbols. Okay, the same Assyrian script that was used in the Strongs. So let's go to that. Let's go back to that Shamawana. Okay, you see the Assyrian script and you see you make a comparison, okay. I will go back to that. You can make a comparison and you see the same shama wana, okay. Shama one, and they don't add the na and the ah because of you don't have these Israelis are, okay. You don't have these Israelis are, okay. They've changed some of the vowel sounds in order to suit their false language. But let's go back to that video, you know. And I'm already tired of making this video, but you have to
years
go
old when
through everything. So now we have shown that this contradiction actually is, this contradiction doesn't actually exist because the same word for eight, shamawana, is the same word for 18, shamawana, okay, which of course shows that he was not actually 18, but rather he was 8, because if he was 18, they would have used Shamawana Aishara, okay, to show that he was 18. That's why you see many times in the Hebrew, whenever they want to say an age, they always say six score and or 610 score, or 600 and 2 score and 2, because there is no word for 640 something, okay. You have to separate the words. So we use the Aishara, which is 10, 10, and Shamawana, which is 6, which is also like a Shamawana, which is 8. So 10 and 8 now was 18. So he was 8 years old, okay. This is a mistranslation, okay. That's why I brought out once again that book in Wisdom of Solomon, to show you that there are many, because there are places that there are many places in the scriptures where words get lost in translation. A good example, everywhere you see Jesus, you think the name of our Lord was Jesus. You think the word that was used there was Jesus, okay? The word that was there is Jesus, which is of course a Greek translation of our Lord's real name, Yahweh, okay? And once again, where you see Lord or God, the exact same thing, okay? And all these things were set up by the Most High, Yahweh Basham, Yahweh, as stumbling blocks to sift out those that aren't diligent enough to that aren't diligent enough to, and this is repeating, but give a diligent search to what is written up in the scriptures. So let's get the next contradiction, so called.
began to reign. This be the King
You don't need to listen to all this
Jehoiakim ignored
nonsense.
our oldest Hebrew manuscripts.
You don't need
Consider
to
the
listen
king
to
of
all this
Babylon.
nonsense.
Major, many years writing about
So let's get the
Jehoiakim is
next
just
one.
8. Let's tell after one. First, who massacre them, but the exact same story of how for 3 months before Nebuchadnezzar ousts him and makes his uncle Zedekiah the next Babylonian vassal. Or here's another one. 1 Chronicles 19 and 2 Samuel 10 tell the exact same story of how Hanun, the king of the Amorites, disgraces the Jewish king David's messengers and sends Aramean mercenaries to battle against David's army, who massacre them. But 2 Samuel says that David killed 700 charioteers of the Arameans and 40,000 horsemen, while 1 Chronicles says that he killed 7,000 charioteers and 40,000 foot soldiers.
There you have it, the next which is once again another mistranslation. But when you see how these people out here in the world are grasping at straws in order to prove that what we believe in, okay, the scriptures, the truth, being Hebrew Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, being the Hebrew Israelites is not real. You see how these people out here in the world are grasping at straws, trying to find any little, evidence they can now to try and disprove the legitimacy of the scriptures. But in all of this, this guy will very carefully, and if you watch this video, you will see it, man. How this guy very carefully avoids all the truth that is in the scriptures and just focuses on these little so-called contradictions, which actually aren't, okay. You go into the book of 2 Samuel 10 verse 18, right? It clearly tells you that, okay, these are that's King David struck down 40,000 horsemen. Let's go and get that. Let's go and get that. Okay, let's go and get that. 2 Samuel 10 verse 18. Let's go and get that. 2 Samuel 10 verse 18. So this is the book of 2 Samuel 10 verse 18. And the Syrians fled before Israel, who and David slew the men of 700 chariots of the Syrians and 40,000 horsemen, and smote Shobach, the captain of their host, who died there. Okay. And if you go into this word horsemen, I forget the word, I think it's a massa or so. But the word represents horsemen. Okay, and we'll go into that. Let's go into that. Parash, or parashiam. Let's go back to that. because you can clearly see that it's hard that they added the yam in order to show that it was a plural sound. Okay, parash or parashyam. Which if you say it in the Paleo Hebrew, that's how it sounds. Okay, because this symbol right here is the sha, parash or parashyam. Okay, and the word is horse, steed, war horse, or horseman. Okay, parash, horseman. But it says that this is a contradiction because if you go into, and let me get that, I believe that is Chronicles, First Chronicles 19 verse 18. I will go to that. Okay, instead of horsemen, you see just foot soldiers there. Okay, so First Chronicles 19 and verse 18, and it reads, "But the Syrians fled before Israel, and David slew of the Syrians 7,000 men, and fought in chariots, and 40,000 footmen, and killed." Okay, Saka, I made a mistake, got a little excited. First Chronicles 19, verse 18. But the Syrians fled before Israel, and David slew of the Syrians 7,000 men, which fought in chariots, and 40,000 footmen, and killed Shopach, the captain of the host. Okay. And when you go into this word footmen, let's get that. We will, of course. Anyway, I'm going to get it right now. You go into this word, the 7,000 men, okay, the 7,000 footmen, Slovakia. The word here is Ayash, okay, Ayash, which basically means men, not footmen, okay. And this is it right here, Ayash, man, male, husband, human being, person, servant, mankind, champion, grace man, okay. And the word is Strong's H376 Ayash. So basically, it's saying the same thing, okay, but First Kings gives more details. This is David killed, horsemen, men on horsemen. But this one is telling you that David just killed men. So it could have been foot soldiers, it could have been archers, it could have been, infantrymen, any type of soldiers, okay, because we know that women weren't on the battlefield in those times, okay. So all the people that were killed were always men. But it's telling you that David had killed the men, okay, but he didn't give detail what kind of soldiers they were, but all he just gave it that it was men. So it's not actually a contradiction. It's actually saying that, oh well, in one place David killed, and David killed Syrians that were like I'm trying to remember the horsemen, okay. Then in another place he killed Syrians that were actually foot soldiers. They were just he killed the men, okay. Whether they were on horses or whether whether they were on horses or not, they were still men and he killed them. So that's another contradiction thrown in. That's another contradiction that has been shown, just by simply going into the Hebrew. The understanding, okay, has been brought out. Now let's get some more, okay, because it still has so much more to talk about, which of course are all the same thing, all false, misunderstandings from his past because he simply does not understand the scriptures.
What we've got here is failure to. The word was inspired by interpret it
and just more nonsense, more atheist
threatened and has
okay?
and maybe under the age Jesus are the same
This is
because they're
another one.
all God.
This is another one that he's going to go into. So let's just get it.
If our only source is contradictory. So I ask again, are there any contradictions in the Bible?
No.
Let's look at some more, but let's stick mostly to the gospel accounts of Jesus' life, because they're all in the New Testament. They're all the same genre, narrative accounts relaying a series of events. They're all talking about the same people and events, and the time.
So I can't stand this guy's face, man. You have to bear with me. Can't stand this guy's face, okay? Doesn't know what he's talking about. I think I'm just going to have to continue on in this video at later dates. Alright. So with that, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Ba'asham Kwadash Wa Abad Babal Shalawam. Watch out for part 2.